We've had a little family tragedy, actually, and for us it's not so little. You can tell who's missing next to me. Miss America is not here. She was doing just fine last week. We had our Facebook Live on Thursday. And Saturday, everything was fine, ate well, active. Took her on a hike on the irrigation ditch, as I usually do in the evening. She did just fine, and put her to bed, as always. And the next morning, Sunday morning, got up to let her outside, and this was one sick puppy. And she was moving slowly and was uninterested in food. So I called down to the Veterinary Emergency and Specialty Center here in Albuquerque, where I practice, and let them know we were on our way. And we hustled right over. And Dr. Brent McGarry, one of our excellent emergency doctors, set to work on her immediately. And so did Stacy Gonzalez, she's our lead technician. And they called in Dr. Ann Hale. Dr. Hale is our internal medicine specialist. And they got ultrasounds and x-rays, started her on pain treatment because she had a painful abdomen. And long and short of it is that they found an abscess on her pancreas that had burst. Those things can smolder for long periods and suddenly release toxins and bacteria into the abdomen. And despite what was done for her, lots of pain management was given. But at 5 o'clock she passed away. She literally was surrounded by her family. And this is, I don't have to tell anybody here how difficult this kind of thing is, because everybody who participates in these things with me feels the same. This, by the way, is Carolyn.
Hi, everyone.
My excellent wife, and we've had Miss America since she was a baby. She was just a month shy of her 14th birthday, exactly 1 month, in fact. So it wasn't a life cut short. We didn't see it coming. But even if you do, these losses are so hard. And, those of us who, we care for our pets as though they were little children in furry suits, don't we? I mean, I talk about that all the time. Well, these cats and dogs are not little people in furry suits. They're members of a different species. And some of their behaviors are similar to ours because, that's part of the reason that they're so close to us, because they have a lot in common. But honestly, there are some important differences. But that little border collie, Miss America, she was the only girl dog I've ever had I raised from a baby. That's a difference, isn't there, between boys and girls? And she had that feminine thing about her, didn't she, Carolyn?
Right.
And she could be feisty with other female dogs. In fact, other dogs in general. She kind of gave them some grief sometimes, never bit anybody. But we were concerned about it sometimes. Other border collies she had no trouble with. But
she was also an excellent herder of cats. And
Yeah.
whenever the two boys got into a squabble, she never hesitated to put her nose right in the middle of it, right face to face with the cats, and give that border collie stare, and they just moved away.
Yeah,
she was a great little cat herder.
it was like she almost thought she had a badge and a six-shooter, the way she, took control of these things.
Yeah, that nose was her weapon.
And she was so bonded to everybody. If any of us was having a bad time, she knew it immediately and came to us and put her head in somebody's lap, and of course, you feel better. This was such a committed little presence that whenever she was always happy to be with us, always
Joyful.
always joyful,
Joyful.
always,
Yes.
and always ready to go and have a good time. Put on a backpack and hike for several days into the wilderness, and go fishing and take daily hikes and play ball in the yard, and remind us that if you live in the moment, life is better. So we going to miss that girl for a long, long time. And thank you. I got some nice comments coming in here.
Let me just say this too. I want to give a special thanks to the Veterinary Emergency and Specialty Center, Dr. Brent,
McGarry,
her emergency doctor, Stacy, who took care of her in the hospital, and Dr. Hale, who was her internist, who came in especially to have a look at Maddie. They were fantastic, very caring. took care of her promptly. They were calm, cool, and did their job, and I'm forever grateful to them for the fantastic job they did. We would have done anything to help her, and they did everything, so I'm totally grateful.
Yeah, I've been in practice for a long time, and you think, as a behavior specialist, do you deal anymore with death? Well, we do, actually, because some of these problems behaviorally are so severe. Aggression, but not just that. Pets have been euthanized that I have been unsuccessful in turning them around because we don't save them all. The brain, of course, is considered the most complex organ in the body. There's a whole lot that can go wrong behaviorally. And there are pets who are put down because they are so miserable. And I had one like that just a couple of weeks ago. These people, their hearts were broken. We could not help that pet. Well, in all my years in general practice, 41 years of dealing with hit by cars and severe cancers and internal disorders and old age where pets became so arthritic and painful that at some point you can't let them go on. I've dealt with my own pets passing away and Juan Gomez, everybody's heard me talk of Juan, and Peter Rabbit, the border collie we had before Miss America, who died of a remarkably aggressive malignancy at only age 8. Yeah, there's heartbreak, but as the saying goes, better to have loved and lost.
Let's look at some comments.
Well, all right. I don't want to get too maudlin here. Diane, thank you for your condolences on that. Cynthia, Richard, thank you. Everybody's very nice, and I appreciate those well wishes. Next week we'll be back, and we're going to talk about dogs who fight with each other over who can be closer to mom and dad. Aggression between family dogs, we've done several Facebook Live events on this problem for an important reason. It's the most common behavior problem or complaint in pet dogs when people have more than one is aggression. And there can be a lot of reasons for it, including fighting over food, fighting over toys, who can be the closest one to the fence when somebody's walking past and they're raising a ruckus. But a very common problem is proximity to the leaders, to the people. And what do we do about that? And what don't we do? What doesn't work? So we'll talk about that next week. And please, it'll be 6 o'clock next Thursday night. It's going to be a while before we have a dog with us sharing these events. Tony and Gaston, our cats, will be here, and Miss America won't be, but she'll be with us in our hearts, and we will carry her with us. So thank you, and we'll see you guys next week.